Okay, so this is Dave from the Laser Hive. I've just published a tutorial on my website on how to convert G5 fans from their ordinary Mac configuration to a PC configuration. If you have a look at that tutorial on www.thelaserhive.com, you will see that tutorial talks you through taking out the internals from G5 fans and inserting the stator, so that's the static part of the motor, from a Zalman quiet fan like this in there. Okay. Now I've got all of these fans rigged up now to a fan controller, which is the Lamptron FC10, and I'm going to go through the startup voltage of the different fans and the noise benefits of doing this. Okay, so just first I'll talk through the connections to this fan controller. On channel 1 I've put a CPU fan that's had the conversion done to it. On channel 2 we have an original Zalman fan with the same mechanism now that's inside the Mac fans. Channel 3, I'm using a Y connector hooked up the rear exhaust fans of the G5, which have had the conversion done, and on channel 4 I've got the second CPU fan just running straight. Now this fan controller is quite good. I really like the design. It's kind of steampunk, and it also has heat sensors, that kind of thing. We've not got those rigged up at the moment, but it's got voltage and RPM readout. At the moment it's on channel 3, as you can see by the light underneath the third tube, which is for the two exhaust fans. So it's on voltage, so I'm going to just take that voltage up and we'll see where those fans start to operate. So at 2 volts there's twitch, so at about 4 volts start up. Okay, I will now move the camera a bit closer. It's got the microphone on it. I'll move it a bit closer to the fans so that you can hear the change in fan tone as I go up by voltage increments. Okay, so this is at 4 volts and the microphone now is about 10 centimeters away from the fans. We're now at 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12 volts. So remember, that's the noise coming from 2 fans at the rear running at a full 12 volts. And if we just check what the RPM is, I can see that these are going at, just bear with me a second, there we go, they're running basically at about 3000 RPM, and as you can hear they're sticking out quite a lot of noise. So we'll now just take the revs down. Each time I press a button I'll be going down by 1 volt. So that's 11 volts. The microphone now is about 30 centimeters away. 10 volts. 9 volts. 8. 7. 6. At 6 volts really you can hardly hear these fans, and of course remember they're not inside a case. Okay. These are the rows at 5 volts. And if I go any lower now, they'll start to stall, so you wouldn't really want to go any lower. So 4 volts, and you can see they're stalling out there. The reading is not coming through very well. So there you go, 5 volts, and you can't hear them. I'll take these down to 0 now, and then we'll just do a similar test on the Zalman fan itself. So remember, this is the fan that has had the internals also transplanted into the G5 fan. So this is basically the difference that using the Zalman rotor design makes on the Zalman fan itself. And we'll see kind of how the revs vary as well and the startup voltages. So I'll just take it through to volts. Okay, so we're on volts, and you can see the fan and the readout there. So 1. Oh, I'm actually on the wrong fan there. I'm on the CPU fan. Never mind. Okay, so let's take it through. Zalman fan now, must be channel 1. Two volts, tries to twitch. Same at 3, it's stalling out. 4, we're starting up there. Now obviously when you look at rotations on a computer screen, and you look at actually how the fan blades move, they don't give a true representation of what it looks like to the naked eye, because you've got frame rates and stuff like that coming in. But at 4 volts you can hear that's not audible at all. 5 volts from this distance, again, you can't hear anything. 6 volts. 7 from where I am, I can start to hear wind noise now. It's not obtrusive, it's not really the same kind of noise that you get from the G5 fans. And then as we go progressively up, 10 volts, you start to really hear it. Remember, of course, it's just the noise from one fan now. Oops, falling over, I better pick that one up. And then that's at the full 12 volts. So it's not a noisy fan by any means, but you kind of get the comparison now with the G5 fans. I'll just take that one back down now. Now a lot of people say that the G5 fans are inherently noisy, and it's a problem with the fact that PCs can't push the motors properly the way that the G5 motherboard can. There's all sorts of different theories around this, but as you can see, if you stick the internals of a typical PC fan into a G5 housing, there are benefits. The benefits to that is that you can then just hook them up to an ordinary motherboard and an ordinary fan controller, and you can set them according to the noise level that you want, or you can use a noise reducing resistor. Now I'll just flick it onto one of the CPU fans that I've also hooked up, and you can hear a single CPU fan and how that will start up now with the Zalman internals. Make sure I'm on the right channel, channel 2. 2 volts. 4 volt, we've got to start up. All I can hear in here is the drone of the fan on my PC actually, which is not ideal, but I can't hear the CPU fan here at all. 5 is pretty quiet. 6, I can get a kind of rush going. So that's 7 volts we're at now. Okay. If you get close, you can certainly hear it. And as we get up to 12, you'll hear a real difference, because it's push a lot of air, these fans. I'll just flick it onto RPM so you can see the RPM there is pretty much the same. So they run at the Zalman rated speed with the Zalman motor in them, so they will run roughly about 3,000 revs. So swapping the motor in from the Zalman doesn't degrade performance at all. Does give you easy controllability though. And you could take the same principle and you could transplant the internals of a pulse width modulated fan, something like that. You don't have to go with just an ordinary one. But this is a pretty cool way of reusing the G5 fans. You could swap out the smaller ones as well. I've just swapped out the 92mm fans here, but obviously if you decide to swap out the internals of a 60mm fan for the PSU, or you decide to swap out one of the 80mm fans in the hard drive area, or in the front, the one next to the speaker, they should all be doable. Just select the right fan to change the internals out with, and you gain a good degree of controllability, because any old fan controller then will be able to work them. Just for fun, let's have all channels on and all fans going, and you'll hear that familiar G5 racket. And when you've got every fan on running at 12 volts. So this is 4 G5 fans, 2 CPU fans, and the rear fans all running at 12 volts, all horrendously loud. But as you can see, they can be tamed, and if you like the original G5 look, then I would definitely recommend swapping out the internals like I showed you. Okay, thanks, that's it. Hope you enjoyed watching.